Hello and welcome to the D.G.S.R Sim Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione League race here at Kyalami. This is the second round in the league, and the weekend is just a single practice, a single qualifying session, and a 50-minute race. So let's have a look at the grid. In P1 we have Morris, followed by Gabe in P2. P3 we have McElligott, followed by Raiola in P4. P5 we have Lerone, followed by Barros in P6. P7 we have ATM, followed by Tollenaire in P8. P9 we have Neil, followed by Hale in P10. P11 we have Wilder, followed by Long in P12. P13 we have Ridge, followed by Joswick in P14. P15 we have Wilkins, followed by Daly in P16. In P17 we have Norton, followed by Worley in P18. P19 we have LKMP, followed by Healy in P20. P21 we have Hillier, followed by Speaking Leash in P22. P23 we have Kyalami, followed by in P24. And rounding up the GT3 cars in P25 we have Walker. Starting the GT4s in P26 we have Mybom. In P27 we have Weiss, followed by Swan in P28. P29 we have Pichon, followed by Stevens in P30. In P31 we have Askham, followed by Engel in P32. And finally in P33 DL. You join me then as the racers go through Ingwe, the final corner on this track in South Africa. It's a night race, I think around 10 o'clock, and we've got Morris and Gabe leading the pack as they head across the line. But not that line, that line. It's a bit of a weird race starting line for some reason at this track. Right, we head through a kink. Side by side, Gabe and Morris trying not to, as Raiola goes down the outside, sees if he can try and get round, I think, Gabe. Morris off to a good start. I think McElligott is up, fighting for P2 there with Gabe as they head through the crocodiles. Seems to be a fairly safe race so far. Morris off to a good lead. Gabe still retaining P2, but has got McElligott for company. Raiola, I think, battling with Lerone and Barros for P4. Followed very closely by, I think, ATM and Tollenaire there. All very bunched up at the moment. Have we had any issues as of yet? Jump back to the GT4s, see how they're doing. Oh, someone's off the track there. I think that's Hillier. Let's have a quick look at what happened there. So I think this is going through the S's. And yeah, bigger bit of oversteer, probably due to cold tyres. It's quite typical of this track, so that's unfortunate. Fortunate start for Hillier there, as the GT4 cars come sailing past. Speaking Leash and Walker and Neil all off to a not particularly good start. I wonder what happened there. Might just roll that back and have a look. Ah, there we go. So I think this is, work out what part of the track we're on. Okay, so I think ooh dear, so that was a bit of oversteer for Speaking Leash as we head through, I think this is turn 3, Clubhouse, that's the one. So we go through Clubhouse as Hillier comes past. Has a bit of, does he have a bit of oversteer? He actually collides with, not quite sure who that car is, 23, is that Kyalami? Yeah, what happened there? So I think possibly Kyalami comes up a little bit. Yeah, gives them a nudge from behind. But none of them are particularly badly affected, so that's a good thing. The other car, that GT3 car that was having some problems, is Walker. Let's have a quick look at the next few laps, see what happens to him. So he's being chased by the GT4 cars of Pichon, I think. He's obviously had a pretty good start, I think. I think he's just dropping back, actually. I think maybe I'm quite sure whether he's managing cold tyres or something like that. There we go. Let's jump back up to the race. McElligot's still trying to catch Gabe for P2. As they are coming now towards the end of lap 1. Where are we at this point in time? Going round. Is that so that is Cheetah. That one. Yeah, so the crocodiles and the cheetah. Cool. Just trying to find my way around with the corners. I'm not a track I'm particularly familiar with, so just getting to know it. So it looks like Morris and Gabe managing to pull away then from the pack. Lerone pushing, looking up the inside, up the outside of McElligott. It's going to decide against the move this round as McElligott takes a defensive line as they head through Crowthorne. So this is the Sway Keep, and this is the Barbecue. He's got amazing corner names, I have to say, for this track. As we head towards sunset, looks like McElligott has managed to pull away a little bit. Let's have a look. He's close. Long and Wilder as they come through sunset and then down towards Clubhouse. And then the S's, notoriously difficult bit of the track if you're close behind someone. As you can see there, Long having to pull back, which is going to affect him going into the O-Cop. Apologies if pronunciation is bad. And down towards the mine shaft. Might be looking to overtake Wilder going down the start-finish straight, because these last couple of corners, I mean that corner's not so bad, but this the chicane is a bit difficult. Cheetah, a bit difficult too. So he's going to try and looks up the inside under braking through Ingwe. It's going to cost him a lot of time as he's had to hit the gravel there, which means he's probably not going to be able to catch him on the start-finish straight. And yeah, Wilder's just managing to pull away there. Let's jump back to the GT4 cars. Let's have a look at what's going on back there. Who's particularly close? Neil and Walker. So, Neil's a GT3 car. And Walker's a GT3 car as well. But managed that. Jump back to Askham, who was close behind Pichon, but it looks like Pichon has got a much better exit out of Ingwe and is sailing on in front. Difficult because a lot of the GT4 cars are currently split my GT3 cars at this current time. Oh, there's looks like a couple of car collision there. What's happened there? So that is the GT4 car of Pichon coming around the corner, heading out wide and hitting the car of Walker there, who was trying to rejoin. Not really sure. I think Walker was trying to come back on track there and not having any luck. So, I mean, let's see what happened to him. So he came off the track. I'm not quite sure why he stopped there. Probably should have kept going, although he was off track technically, so there we go. That's going to cost Pichon some time, unfortunately. Alright, let's have a look. I think Lerone has creeped back into P5, although looks like he's trying to get around Barros. Still close behind. These guys now a few seconds behind P3 of McElligott. Let's jump back then to ATM, who is currently riding behind Viola. Not long overtaken Hale, I believe. So they head through Cheetah and Ingwe. looking to get a good exit through this so that he can catch up with the Aston Martin, although he is in the Porsche, which doesn't have terribly good straight line speed. Managing to keep within a good distance of Raiola, but not enough to catch him. Porsche not necessarily having great straight line speed, but tends to be better through corners than some other cars. I'm not sure exactly how it pairs up with the Aston Martin. Raiola looks to be pulling away and catching Lerone as Lerone hits the grass there on the inside of Sunset. As we go into Clubhouse, Raiola definitely catching Lerone a good amount there. Let's jump forward a little bit then. A little bit of break there for Lerone as they go through the S's. You can normally take that in the GT3 cars. Some of the GT3 cars you can take that just by lifting. Might just be a bit cautious because of Barros in front of him, because it is quite easy to just sail into the back of someone through the S's. These guys head into the mine shaft on finishing off their lap 4. Heading very bunched up and close as they head through. What is that one? That is the crocodiles. Have I just missed something? I have just missed something. I briefly looked down to look at the track guide, and I think Barros just clips the sausage curb. Yep, and loses the car. That curb, if you hit it, because you're coming around at some speed, if you hit it, you know, it's going to cost you, can really unsettle the car. Really unsettle the car. So you want to try and avoid it, and you've got to be very careful because you're taking that corner with some speed. So Lerone then up into P4 now, as Barros unfortunately slips down. Let's have a quick look at the rundown. Yeah, let's do a quick rundown. Oh, it's got a stop go. He's in the pits, so he must have had some damage, and now he's serving his stop go for speeding in the pits. Let's have a quick rundown of the grid then. What are we, 10 minutes in? So Morris still up into P1. So far been a fairly easy race for him, although he's still got Gabe only a second behind him in P2. Gabe as well, only with a second between them, has got McElligott for company in P3. A good 4 seconds behind them, Lerone, battle for P4 between Lerone, Raiola and I think ATM, all quite close together at the moment, down between P4 and P6. A few seconds behind them we've got Wilder, who's also being closely followed by Hale, and not long behind them as well is De Tollenaire and Long in P9 and P10. And we've got Ridge in P11, also not terribly close behind, but also quite close behind Long. Behind him in P12 we've got Wilkins, who's being followed by a decent gap by Norton. Norton is being followed quite closely by Healy, who's being followed very closely by LKMP at this particular moment in time as they head through Cheetah there. Behind LKMP we have Joswick in P16, and then we've got Daly in P17. Barros now down into P18 after that unfortunate incident through Cheetah in the last lap. Behind him in P19 we've got Speaking Leash, as he just has a little bit of a wobble going wide. Not quite sure where exactly. In P20 we've got Kuya, followed very closely at the moment by Neil as they head through, I think that's the kink. Looks that way. In P22, a few seconds behind them, we've got Hillier, who's trying to catch up after his oversteer in lap 1. And then we start the GT4 cars. So P23 are effectively P1 for the GT4 cars. We've got My Bomb. He's being followed. He's got a comfortable lead of a few seconds now in front of Stevens, who's in P24. Stevens, not long behind Stevens, we've got Swan. He's being also followed within a couple of seconds by Weiss. P27, we have Wally, who I think had a problem, also had an oversteering problem in lap 1. He's just catching up with Weiss now, trying to renegotiate through the GT4 cars. There we go, just overtakes him. In P28, we have Pichon, right smack bang in the middle of the GT4s. Behind him, by a couple of seconds, we've got Askham in the Aston Martin. P29, sorry. In P30, we've got Engel, also a couple of seconds behind. In P30, we have the GT3 car of Walker, who's had a few problems, I think, in this race. P31, we have Askham. And finally, excuse me, lost my words there. Finally, for the GT4 cars, we have DL in P32. He's now being followed by who's had I think is a couple of laps behind at this point, because he's pitted twice. Pitted once for damage, I think, and then pitted for his stop-go after speeding in the pit lane. Right, let's have a quick look then. Let's have a look at, as he goes off the track again there, that's unfortunate. Let's have a look at Long, who's following D.G.S.R very closely as they head through Clubhouse. Oh, big chunk of dust being kicked up by... Oh, is that McElligott? Blimey. Oh, and he's got a lot of damage. Let's have a look at what happened there. Oh dear. Okay, so we're going through Sunset by the looks, and he takes it very fast and then just puts the gas on a little bit too rough towards the exit of the curve and hits the wall and rolling along the gravel, I think looking for an opportunity to rejoin. That's going to be unfortunate for him because he's riding P3 for quite some time there. So that's unfortunate. God, it's a decent amount of damage as well. The walls are not kind at Kyalami. Excuse me. I've been losing my words a lot today. But let's jump back to Long, because he was close up behind. In fact, we've basically just jumped back to him in the same point. He's close behind D.G.S.R and Hale as they head down to the mineshaft. And through the crocodiles. As D.G.S.R goes quite wide out of the crocodiles there. I wonder if he picked up a warning for track limits there. As long as wide out of the cheetah, he probably wouldn't have gained time doing that though. Down through Inkway, Hale goes very wide through there. That might give D.G.S.R the opportunity to overtake. It doesn't look like any of them are making any inroads on each other though. As we head into turn 1 of Crowthorne. And then the Juxgay Sweep and Barbecue. I love that this corner's called Barbecue. It is a bit of a... I would say that corner's quite tough to get right sometimes. It's quite easy to oversteer through there. So the fact it's called Barbecue is weirdly fitting, because it's like, you know, you don't want to be burnt by it. Right, D.G.S.R catching Hale through Sunset there, and Clubhouse. These three drivers very close together once again as they go through the S's. Seems like D.G.S.R and Long are able to catch Hale through Sector 2, Sector 1 and Sector 2, but then Hale's managing to keep them at bay through the final sector. As we head to the top of the hill of Lekop, I think, and down the hill to the mineshaft. Yeah, it looks like Ferrari and the Lexus managing to maybe they take the hairpin a bit better. Well, as the three cars come up on, I think that is the car of the GT3 car of going side by side through the cheetah. That was a brave move. Blimey. There we go. And looks like the car of Ridge is not far behind as well, as these guys are coming up to the GT4 traffic for the first time. So this is 15 minutes in the race, and we're catching up with GT4 cars. Right, let's have a look. Speaking of GT4 cars, is there anything happening at the back? The GT4 cars have created quite a decent gap between each other. So leading them at the moment is Mybom, and there's a good 3 seconds between himself and Stevens, and then another 3 seconds between himself and Swan. But they're actually looked quite close together there. Oh no, that's Swan and Weiss that are quite close together, forgive me. And then 10 seconds behind them is Pishon, and another 13, sort of 14 seconds behind them is Engel. So GT4 cars becoming very spread out. I wonder if that's because of the GT3 traffic or whether because it's the sort of longer format. Obviously this is a 50-minute race where we usually do sort of 20 to 30, so 15 minutes in, about this time, we would be starting to spread out. But then we'd only have a few minutes left of the race. Let's jump up to Lerone. Ooh, as Morris is down in P4. What's happened to Morris? Well, let's have a look. Because he was running in P1 for quite some time. It's there, isn't it? Okay, so Gabe looks like he's caught Morris. This is lap 8. So where are we at the moment? We're going through Clubhouse at the moment. And then we're going to go through the S's. Right on board with Gabe. So they go through the S's. Both putting on a little bit of brakes. Morris taking a bit of curb there, which sends him wide. And then as he's spinning, yeah, that's unfortunate. So the curbs on through the S's can be quite. He hits that last curb, sends him wide, trying to keep the pace on, and he loses the car, and that gives Lerone, Raiola, and I think ATM as well, possibly, all the positions. So oh no, ATM stays behind, so he's down in P4 now. So now Gabe is in P1, and a few seconds behind him is Lerone, followed closely by Raiola. So there we go, a bit of a shake-up at the front. As Lerone there goes quite wide through, and that gives Raiola the opportunity to come flying past. Let's have a quick look at that. That was quite a cool move. So they go. So he's behind. They're coming up to the Crocodiles. Lerone just sort of slides wide, and that just gives Raiola the opportunity to come sailing past, and then down towards Cheetah. Is that Cheetah? Where am I? Yeah, it was Cheetah, sorry. Okay, there we go. P1 then is Gabe, and now P2 is Raiola. Lerone in P3, and Morris down to P4. ATM is catching Morris as well as they head through into turn 1 of Crowthorne. Morris taking the defensive line on the inside, so he's not going to let ATM through anytime soon. As they head through the Juxway sweep and the barbecue, or just barbecue, sorry. And looks like these guys are catching up with some more GT4 cars, so it'll be interesting to see what effect that has. Looks like Raiola and Gabe have managed to negotiate the car of Askham. Askham staying to the racing line. Morris is going to brake, and not quite sure what's happening there. So Morris is going to overtake going through with the S's, which is going to be unfortunate for ATM. As ATM takes an opportunity of the gap and just flies by the past the GT4 car. That was a bit of a risky move there. This GT4 car probably wasn't expecting him to come up so quickly, but there we go. And they take the inside line as I think the car of Engel goes wide. Okay, interesting stuff. Right, let's jump back to Tolonet, who is catching, I think, Hale. Hey, what's happened here? That's long down the road. Let's roll this back. So this is... Oh, what's happened here? Have I jumped forward? Oh dear, there we go. So we have the Tollenair and Hale. So this is lap 8. Jump forward a little bit. Okay, so they're negotiating back markers, I think. So heading into lap 9. Ooh, dives up the outside of the back marker. Takes the long way around and up into the straight. Keeping very close behind Hale. Is he close enough to take a look up the inside going into Crowthorne? Don't think he is. Has a little think, but decides against. And then down through Barbecue. Getting very up close and personal with Hale now. As they head through Sunset. Two of them have had a mega battle for a lot of this race. Oh, as the Tollenair goes wide. What happens there? So did he miss his braking point, I think? Yeah, missed his braking point and then goes wide into the gravel, which is going to give Long the opportunity to come past. So he slots in, I think, behind, is that Ridge? Yep, so Tollenair now into P10, which gives, so that's what happened there. Alright. Looks like some GT4 action. We've got Weiss, who is catching on Swan as they head through start-finish straight. And down through Crowthorne. It's interesting how much deeper the GT4 cars sound in comparison to GT3 cars. Some of the GT3 cars have this really sort of high-pitched whine. He stays in 4th as he goes through Sunset, going wide. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the GT3 cars tend to drop down into 3rd for that corner. Don't know if that's a difference in car or driving styles. Big curb there. On through the S's. Shaken up a little bit by the curb as he's coming up the back of Swan, going through Laycop and down towards the mineshaft. This looks to be the closest battle in the GT4 cars race, currently anyway, as they head through the Crocodiles. Got a better line through there, I would say, than Swan did. Through Cheetah. Ooh, just clips the curb there, but manages to keep it at good speed. Very close and personal through Ingwe. Down to the straight, a lot closer this lap than he was the previous one. I was about to say Swan's car looks like it's got better straight line speed, but they're both Porsches, so must have just got a slightly better exit out of Ingwe. Ooh, as he goes wide to try and avoid contact. Maybe should have taken a more of aggressive line there. Maybe gone up the inside or something. That's going to cost him a bit of time that he's going to have to build back up to catch them. Looks like the two of them are catching Stevens. He's just a couple seconds down the road now. So maybe the GT4 race is starting to hot up. We'll take a look in a little bit. Let's have a look at LKMP, sorry, who's now on the heels of Joswick. In fact, he must have overtaken Hale not all that long ago. Let's have a gander. So I said Hale, I meant Norton. There we go. So, ooh, what's happening here? So, coming up to the hairpin of Le Cop at the top of the hill. And there's a good chunk of different cars there. Is that a GT4 car of Engel, I think, that's oversteered. And that's given all kinds of headway here. So let's have a look at Norton's on board. Oh, so Norton's got caught. This GT4 car's... okay, so Norton dived up the inside of the GT4 car. GT4 car didn't expect him to be there. I think Norton's okay there. Norton probably should have turned in, I think. Not quite. I think he had plenty of space there. Might have been a bit of a racing incident as they didn't see each other. But that's spooked, I think that's Engel, and he's spun round. And then I think Norton has slowed down, and in slowing down to avoid the GT4 car, Joswick's come sailing past, and LKMP has come sailing past. He's got stuck behind the other GT4 car, and I think that's Healy. Is that Healy that's come past as well? Oh, there's another thing happening. Oh my word. Another bit of a collision there. So we see Norton there, and then Healy and the GT4 cars collided there. So the GT4 car of, I think, Askham comes up the inside of the Crocodiles. Yeah, he's not going to see that car. I think that might be a bit of a racing incident. Because the car is there, you can see him there. Oh no, okay. From that angle it would seem that Askham needed to drop out a little bit. It's difficult though. They are sort of about a 50-50, aren't they? I think Askham possibly should have backed out of that, but there we go. And that's cost Healy. And then another car's come round. What car is that? Is that McElligott? Yeah, it's McElligott. He's unfortunately come around the corner to find Healy in front of him, spanning the wrong way. There's another car. What is going on? So that's Askham, who's then backed into... Oh my word. I'm trying to work out who it is now. Have I just dropped back a lot there? Let me jump to... Where's Norton? There's Norton. Oh my word. Sorry guys. See, is that the trouble we had with the GT4 car? No, because Joswick's still behind him there. Forgive me, I've lost my place. Joswick is now in front of them. It might have been the lap before that. Yeah, here we go. So this is the lap. I'm going to drop back to someone like Hillier, perhaps. Oh, he's quite far behind. Barros, maybe? Oh, so Barros is coming up on this mess. So Barros comes round and avoids them. Oh my word! What is happening here? Yeah, I have to say there's some pretty horrendous sort of rejoining there by... So Askham comes across the racing line and then thinks against it and backs off, and I'm not quite sure who that car is. Is that a GT4? Let me pause it. Let me pause it. Let's have a gander. So that is number 8. That's a GT3 car. I think number 8 is Daly. So Daly's come around. So you got McElligott in front of him. I mean, it's completely blind. You're not gonna. And then Askham's there. McElligott's there. He's tried to slot through between them and got Askham to. What a palaver! Wow. Okay, difficult one. I feel like the actual crash was fine. Probably a racing incident. Maybe a bit of poor judgment from the guys who crashed there. There we go. So, bit of pandemonium in the middle there. Let's have a look at the rundown of the grid as it stands. What are we now? 20 odd minutes in. 20 minutes in, we have Gabe in P1, Riola in P2, Larone in P3. I should be moving to have a look. Morris still in P4, ATM in P5. Quite a big gap then back to Wilder in P6. Hale in P7. Long following close behind in P8. De Tollenaire in P9. Ridge P10. Wilkins P11. Joswick down in P12. LKMP in P13. Norton now down to P14. Barros P15. Daly P16. Healy P17. Speaking Leash P18. Hillier P19. Worley managing to get up into P20, so he's managed to negotiate those GT4 cars. Mybom in P21. Neil in the pits in P22, so he'll be losing that place, I think. Yeah, jumping down P25 now. So Stevens now in P22. Swan in P23 is old. Swan has oversteer there. So I think, what corner is that we're on? Is that barbecue? No, it's not barbecue. I think that's turn 1, isn't it? Yeah, turn 1. So that is Swan running in P3 effectively for the GT4s. Being followed, we were following them quite closely with Weiss. That's a bit of a... So Swan oversteers, gets hit by Weiss. Oh my word. So decides to come round. That's some really bad rejoining, and he is hit by, I think, Riola. And Larone, Morris and ATM all have to negotiate that. And he's still on the track, and I think Wilder has to negotiate him as well. Again, the first crash, I mean, I feel like Weiss maybe should have tried to avoid it, but there wasn't a huge amount that he could have done. I mean, let's have a look at Weiss, shall we? So he oversteers. Yeah, there's not a huge amount he can do there. I think it's unfortunate for Swan. But then the interesting choice of Swan is facing towards the side of the track, but rather than go straight or left, he decides to rotate round, and that puts him literally in the way of people coming over. So I think possibly a slap on the wrist coming his way for that. But the front runners have really bunched up now as a result of the GT4 car traffic, and then another not terribly good rejoin, although it was safe at least. So interesting. Weiss now up into effectively P3 for the GT4 cars. So he's been battling close behind Swan for some time, and it's just that unfortunate mistake from Swan that's allowed him to come past, as he makes a mistake himself there through, I think, is that the S's? Yeah, it was the S's. There we go. Let's have a look at Engel, who is battling with DL at the moment. So DL managing to get up into P27 in head of Engel and Askham as they head through the barbecue. A little bit of a jiggle from DL there. We head into Sunset. DL taking interestingly tight line there. Ooh, very late braking from Engel there, and that's so what is happening here? There's a car on the track, off the track. So DL, I think DL there has slowed for the yellow flag. Engel's not seen the yellow flag and has shot up the inside. So, oh, as Engel, ask him. Oh, blimey. Okay, so Engel has come flying up the inside of DL. I think Engel did have rights to the corner, although there was a yellow flag, so it's a bit cheeky. And DL has sort of turned in, not realising he's there. I've gone to the wrong car there, sorry. Oh, actually, no. Was he hit? It looks from his angle that he was hit. That's an interesting one. Oh, bloody. So we've got Engel flying up. DL breaks. Engel breaks. Was he hit? If he was hit, it was a very subtle hit. I mean, certainly from DL's point of view, if we go back, it certainly feels like he's being hit in the cockpit. Because it's a very sudden movement, and then he's hit a second time and is hit wide. So that's going to be an interesting one for the stewards to review, I think. It looks to me like there was a very slight touch from Engel, which then just hit DL wide. Who's that car on the track at the moment? That's the car of 21. That's Kyalami. So what's happened here then? He looks like he's stayed in the same place for some time. Oh, he's pitted. And then he's pitted again. He's having problems there by the looks. Looks like he's having some issues, quite slow. And then comes through sunset. He's being caught by some other cars. So they got the inside and he just brakes? Not quite sure what happened there. There we go. Bit odd. Maybe he had some technical problems there or something along that line. Distinctly possible. Wouldn't be the first time that I've pulled my wheel out from... Right, so let's have a look what we got here. We've got cars of Ridge and I think Wilkins in front. Is that Wilkins? It's an Aston Martin. 25, yeah, Wilkins. As they're negotiating the GT4 cars. The GT4 car slots in, going into Cheetah. I think that's the GT4 car of Swan, is it? 42. Yep. And Ridge is going to, unfortunately, lose a bit of time to Wilkins there as a result of that move from the GT4 car. But you can appreciate not wanting to go through the Cheetah side by side. Right, lots of drama in this race then so far. As we come to the 23rd minute. Trying to peek out different things to have a look at. Let's jump to the front of the row again. Front of the row, front of the grid. As ATM has managed to get up to P4. I think he capitalised on one of the incidents, unfortunately. Morris went a little bit wide. Morris looking a little squirrely through the S's, but keeps it under control. As he's trying to catch this pack. I mean, this group of 4 drivers have been quite close for a number of laps now. I think, is that Lerone going for a move? Oh no, it's a GT4 car of My Bomb that they're negotiating currently. So ATM and Lerone are going to get past them. It's unfortunate for Morris. He's got to get past My Bomb through the Cheetah. Yeah, he's going to have to stay behind. And then through Ingwe. He's going to have a look at the inside through Ingwe. You have to take a very tight corner. So Raiola then. Gabe. Comfortably, I think, in P1. Although, is that Raiola behind him? 1, 2, 1. I think so, yeah. So, no, I'm about to say comfortably in the lead, but actually he's only 1 and a bit seconds in front, so this pack of sort of 4 or 5 cars are doing very well. As Raiola goes wide there, I think. Is that Raiola that's gone wide? Yeah, and that's given Lerone and ATM the opportunity to come past. So Lerone now up into P2. These guys having a proper battle for podium places. Really interesting. We don't normally have this. So Lerone in P2, ATM in P3 now, Raiola in P4. Morris dropping back now in P5. unfortunately for him. This is a great little race here. I think I might rock on board with these lot for a little bit. But their battling has given Gabe a little bit of an advantage. And he's managing to get a little way up the road. So we head now into lap 15. So we're now, what are we? Yeah, now just over halfway through the race. Still a long way to go, so any old thing could happen. Looks like Larone is managing to pull away a little bit from ATM and Raiola. However, I think they're coming to the back of a back marker here. Looks like the car, the Alpine of Pichon, the GT4 car, as they head through Clubhouse. ATM's going to overtake in front of the S's, which is going to be unfortunate for Raiola. Who's hit him? Oh no! Yep, so the GT4 car of Pichon, trying to go through the S's, slows down, I guess, both because it's a GT4 car, but also cautionary to avoid hitting ATM, because ATM does actually brake in front of Pichon. So Pichon brakes as to, let's have a look at Pichon's perspective. So ATM comes in close behind. Pichon probably over brakes there a little bit, but he's being cautious, and unfortunately Raiola was not being as cautious and comes sailing to the back of Pichon there, and that's gonna be annoying for the both of them. There we go. Yeah, like I said, long race, and lots of things could happen. That's going to give Morris the opportunity to come past and catch up into P4, and he's now in clean air, assuming there's no back markers, so he's going to be looking to try and hunt down the car of ATM. There is back markers. He's going to be trying to hunt down the back of ATM. A little way down the road then, not far behind this pack, is Wilder and Long. Let's ride on board with Long for a second, because he's catching Wilder. This is the battle for P5 now. After Raiola's little incident there, Long goes quite wide. Out of the exit of Crocodiles. Go through Cheetah. These guys are both in Aston Martins, so even pair up. So they head down the start-finish straight for, I think, lap 16. Yep. Coming very close behind the back of Wilder there as they go through Crowthorne. And they're going to come up to the back marker of DL, going down towards Sunset. Wilder's going to get past and Long's going to get past. That's fortunate for the both of them. So that means that as Long comes very close. Oh! And that's a hit. That's a hit. Yeah, so Wilder going a lot slower than Long expects, and that's going to send him round. Yeah, there we go. And Long carries on. So Long now up into P5, but I think I'm going to be slapped with an incident. Slapped with a penalty there. That was very clear up the back. But Wilder now down into P6 as he manages to negotiate the back marker of DL once more. Let's have a gander. McKellar up close behind Weiss, but excuse me, GT3 car versus GT4 car. Askham and Engel seem to be running pretty close together. He says, I'm going to apologise now for Askham. I did not know that you span at that point. So that's Askham coming through the cheetah and oversteering and hitting the wall. He's got a bit of damage there. So it's going to be interesting to see if he pits or not. He's just missed the pit exit, so he's going to have to go a whole lap with this damage at the very least. Just going to give DL a little bit of an opportunity to catch up. Right. So look at Hale and Daly then. Having a little battle. Hale's down in P14 now. He was running in the top 10 for some time, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. That could have happened at any time, so I'm not going to go looking for it. As they go through Cheetah, they're coming into the back marker of Weiss, I think, as they head into... That was an interesting move by Weiss there. He deliberately went on the outside, but then he went wide anyway. Not quite sure. He got a bit spooked by the GT3 cars there. Right, so we're in the Lexus of Hale, catching the Mercedes of Daly as they head through Crowthorne for this, I think, 17th lap. Hit the 30-minute mark now, so got 20 minutes left of this race. Quite a long one. There's almost Stevens looking very squirrely up ahead. There, must have had a bit of a problem. Free barbecue. That's the GT4 car of Stevens. Currently sort of in P2, P20/P21 as they head through Clubhouse. This is a difficult place to catch up with the GT4 cars as Daly's going to go up the inside of Stevens. That's going to screw Stevens up a little bit, and that's going to give Hale the opportunity to come sailing past as well. Yeah, the S's are a difficult place to catch GT4 cars because it's difficult. You don't want to screw their race, but at the same time, you're going to have to follow them. They're going to be a lot slower through there than the GT3 cars, so you're going to lose a lot of time. And if I think Hale was quite lucky there that sort of Daly spooked Stevens into backing out a little bit, and that gave Haley the opportunity to come by in quite a lot of space. As Hale makes the move on Daly there, what's happened? So Daly goes... I'm not quite sure what happens there. What's happened there? So Daly comes through Crocodiles. Doesn't seem to have a problem. Maybe oversteers a little bit. But he's lifting. So let Hale through. Hey? What's happened there? Did they collide? I think they collided. Daly's ahead. Daly's ahead. Goes through Crocodiles. Hale doesn't touch him, and then he lifts. And Hale comes sailing past. Okay. Not quite sure what happened there. That'll be an interesting one. I don't know whether maybe he collided earlier or felt he needed to give the position back. I'm not quite sure, but there we go. Hale up into P13 then. Not quite sure what's happened there. I'm sure we can ask him. Let's have a little run down the grid once more. So, Gabe then, still in P1 in the lead. Again, a couple of seconds ahead now. He's followed by ATM now, he's up into P2, so he's managed to negotiate Lerone in the last couple of laps. Although Lerone is not giving up without a fight, and he's in P3, not far behind. Morris, a couple of seconds back still, not being able to catch up with those top three in P4. Long, who we saw overtake Wilder, is now up into P5, so he's going to be trying to hunt down Morris in the last few laps, in the next few laps. Wilder then down in P6. Wilkins in P7, having a uneventful but solid race, I would have to say. Haven't looked at his haven't been looking at him racing a lot, but then he hasn't been in any incidents, I don't think, and as a result has managed to get into a pretty good position. We've got Ridge in P8 again, another car that haven't had much drama from this race, but is comfortably in the top 10. 4 seconds behind him, then we've got Raiola, who had that problem with Pichon going through the S's, and he's being hunted down by Joswick. These guys quite often racing close together in the league. So Joswick's in P10. Barros is down in P11 after his little trouble earlier on in the race. I wonder if he's got a bit of damage, because he hasn't managed to come back with any particular vengeance. Oh, he's got a good amount of damage on the front. He's either got a bit of damage, or perhaps Joswick is just doing a very good job of keeping behind him. Behind him then, we have the car of Hale in P12. Daly now down into P14, as LKMP has now overtaken him. So I wonder if Daly's having issues, I'm not quite sure. Maybe he's having hardware issues or something, and that's why he was appeared to be lifting. P15 we have Healy, and quite a big gap between Healy is in P16 Speaking Leash. A couple seconds behind Speaking Leash we have Hillier in P18. We have the car of Worley in P18. I said P18 for Hillier, I meant P17. The car of Worley 4 seconds behind Hillier, so he's been trying to chase him down for a lot of this race after having the problems near the beginning. McElligott now up into P19 after his troubles earlier in the race, and still leading the GT4 cars we have the car of Mybom, who is being closely followed at the moment by Neil, but he's a GT. Oh, I say closely followed. Has he had a bit of an accident? Oh dear. Oh, so Pichon's... Oh dear, okay, so Pichon's oversteered coming out of the S's, I think, and Neil has not managed to avoid him and hit the wall himself. So that's unfortunate for him. Stevens then is leading second for the GT4 cars in P22. Just about to take P21, overtaking Neil. Behind him by a couple of seconds is Weiss. He's having a pretty good race. He's managed to overtake Swan and has now got Stevens in his sights. Just a couple of seconds behind the road, so looks like he's on for a podium at the moment for GT4s. Good chunk of time behind them is Swan, who's in P24 or P4 for the GT4s. Behind him, Askham in P25 or P5 for the GT4s. Then Engel behind them in P26. DL in P27, who's funnily enough behind Stevens, but I think a lap behind. And then behind him we've got Pichon, who's had a few troubles in this race, unfortunately. The last of it being that oversteer out of the S's that we've just seen, as he gets overtaken by, I think, Hale in the GT3 car there. And then actually finishing up the grid is the GT3 cars of Norton and Kyalami. Norton in the pits at the moment. So I wonder what's happened there. Looks like it happened at the beginning of lap 15. Let's have a gander. Oh no. Yeah, so he's got the car of, I think, Neil behind him as they head into turn 1, and Neil has come up the inside where he really shouldn't be and has spun Norton round. That's unfortunate for him. So Norton quickly gets off the track and tries to rejoin, and as he rejoins, unfortunately gets hit by, is that DL, I think, coming around the corner? I mean, there's not much the DL could have done there, but yeah, a bit of an unsafe rejoin. It's a bit of a difficult place to be, I suppose. But he's been hit by... Oh no, sorry, that's sorry, not DL. So it's a GT3 car that's hit him. And possibly that's given the both of them a good chunk of damage. As also stops on track. Not quite sure what he's doing there. Maybe his engine cut out and he had to restart it. And Norton resets back to pits. There we go. So I'll jump back up. I think I was around the 35 minute mark. Let's have a look. Pack getting very spread out now. Let's have a look at Joswick, and I think he's just been overtaken by Raiola. Let's instead look at Lerone and ATM battling for P2, and have been through most of this race. As they head into turn 1 on lap 20. So the round, 15 minutes ago in this race, in about 10 laps. All the cars are very spread out now, except the odd few. Gabe comfortably in the lead, although he's had these guys for company only, just over a second behind him this whole way. So he's done well not to keep calm under pressure, and I don't think they've come quite, at least I haven't seen them come quite close enough to put huge amounts of pressure on him. But they're constantly there in his mirror, I imagine, which is frightening enough as it is. As ATM takes quite a wide line through the crocodiles. Touch some brakes as he goes through Cheetah, but he goes a bit wide and hits the gravel. It's going to give Lorraine hopefully a bit of opportunity to catch up as they head through Ingwe. We're in there with the best lap of a 1:42.3. As we head through Barbecue. And Sunset. ATM looking a little squirrely. As we head through the S's one more time. Yeah, it's quite evenly paced, these guys, at the moment. Both of them, I think, they've got almost within a second of Gabe, so maybe not battling too much has served them both well, as they all three come up to the back marker of, I think that's Kyalami in the Krispy Kreme livery. Quite a distinctive one, that. So Gabe's managed to negotiate that back marker, but now very close there, ATM and Kyalami. Not quite sure if Kyalami expected there to be a car. And as they head through into lap 22. Let's have a look at the grid. Let's jump back to... what should we have a look at? Let's have a look at Stevens, who has managed to catch... I say he managed to catch Weiss. I think Weiss was behind him. So Weiss has taken P2 now for the GT4s. I wonder if we can find where that happened. I think we can. If the camera likes us. Let's jump into the car of Weiss. So I think that's DL, back marker on the left hand side. Stevens takes a wide line through there, slowed right down by DL. I didn't quite expect DL to be where he was at the time. So while Stevens is trying to get past this back marker, that's given Weiss the opportunity to catch right up. As they head through Sunset. Stevens trying desperately to get around DL there. Oh, flashing lights, must be damaged headlights. And in that battling, Weiss is trying to get past Stevens. They go through the S's. Oh, there's a little trio there. Stevens goes round towards the inside of Laycott, and he's gonna, and well, both of them actually, Weiss and Stevens, are going to be able to overtake on the inside of Laycott, and then down towards the mineshaft. So Weiss really capitalising on the traffic there, managing. Oh, is that angle on the side of the road? Oh, Stevens has a little bit of oversteer, and that's given Weiss the opportunity to come past. So Weiss with P2 now for the GT4s, just before lap 20. So we're going to jump back now to lap 22, because that's where we were before. But it was good to roll back and have a look at that. Looks like Pichon has managed to catch DL. So let's have a look at this bit of driving. So this is part of lap 21. So only a few laps to go for him. So we're about... Ooh! That's an interest. What's happened there? So that is the GT3 car of, I think, Wilder. Is that Wilder, or is it... It could be... That's unfortunate for DL there, because I think... I'm not quite sure... Because they could have easily gone 3 wide there, so that guy's pushed DL off the track. And that's given Stevens the opportunity to come sailing past. I'm not quite sure which car that is that did that. So that's given sorry, not Stevens, Pichon, my mistake. So that's given Pichon the position there, that little sort of push out wide. Yeah, it is 811. So I think maybe wasn't expecting there to be a car on his outside and was a bit concerned about the GT3 car on his inside lapping him. Pichon goes wide there, as does DL. DL desperately trying to get that position back then. That's unfortunate for him because he's riding in P26 for quite some time. But now Pichon has taken that position. But yeah, it looks like it could be a good battle there for what is effectively P6, P7 for the GT4 cars. So yeah, there we go. Right, what's happening with the grid? Looks like Morris is catching up with DL, or he was, until we had to negotiate a GT4 car. Yep, so he's trying to go around the outside of Weiss. So he's managed to get within a second. Ooh, very close there, but keeps it together through Cheetah and through Ingwe. What are we on the time? Over 43 minutes ago, getting close towards the end of this race. Then it's been a long one. Still in the lead, we have Gabe, followed by ATM very closely now. We'll have to keep an eye on that one in P2. Dropping behind is Larone in P3, now 3 seconds behind the leaders. He's being caught by Morris within a couple of seconds. Behind them in P5, Long, who's just trying to negotiate the GT4 car of Weiss as he heads up the inside of Weiss, going through Sunset. He's going to be trying to catch Morris as best he can before the end of this race. Wilder's down in P6, followed by a couple of seconds by Wilkins in P7, Ridge in P8, Loyola now into P9, Joswick in P10, Barros P11, Kale P12, LKMP in P13, followed closely by Daly in P14. And they're followed by Healy in P15, and quite a big gap down to Speaking Leash in P16. Hillier in P17, who's being caught now by Wally in P18. McElligott behind them in P19, and then starting the GT4 cars, Maybom having a comfortable lead in P20 for the GT4s. He's followed by Weiss, who's managed to get himself up into effectively P2 for the GT4 cars in P21. Oh, as he hits the curb and goes wide there through Cheetah. That's what I said could happen. Hit that curb, it very much disturbs the car. He's been followed still quite closely by Stevens, although Stevens has a big bout of oversteer and slows right down, and that's going to cost him quite a bit of time. He's followed then by Swan in P23. We've got the GT3 car of Neil down in P24. Askham, the GT4 car in P25, still harbouring that damage. I might have pitted by this point if I were him. But there we are. Behind him, Pichon in P26. He's followed by DL in P27. Engels down in P28. And then GT3 cars of in P29. Kuyar in the pits and Norton in the pits. So it looks like those two guys might have decided to DNF, which is a shame because there's only a few minutes left in the race. Let's jump up to ATM because he's going very close to the back of Gabe in these last couple of laps. As they head through the crocodiles. I think they're coming up on to the back markers of some GT3 cars there. That looks like Wally and possibly Hillier in front of them. As ATM takes a little bit wide through the Cheetah and goes quite deep into Ingwe there, I would say. Staying in second gear. Yeah, I wouldn't have made that choice myself, but it might be the car. As I think Gabe is going to get comfortably ahead now. But I'm going to stay with these guys for a little bit because those cars of Hillier and Worley look very close together, and it's going to be interesting to see what this overtaking traffic does to that little battle. Go through Sunset and down into Clubhouse. Wally has a little bit of a look up the inside of Hillier, but doesn't make it stick. As they go through the S's, Gabe is going to take the outside line through the S's to overtake Wally, and that's going to give ATM the opportunity to come flying past as they head. ATM's going to look up the inside, not going to be able to do it. Look up the outside. Is he going to be able to take the long way around? Not quite. As Hillier looks like to have a not quite sure what happened there, a bit of oversteer. ATM tries to have a look around Gabe, but Gabe taking very defensive line. ATM backs out a little bit there to avoid any potential contact. Can he go around the long way around Gabe? No, not going to be able to do it this time. Gave us a much better line through there. And they go through Cheetah. I think this might be one of the last. No, it's not the last lap. As they head into lap 27, I think. 28, sorry. Very interesting couple of corners there. ATM definitely capitalising on the traffic, but Gabe was not having any of it. He was like, I've led this race for the last 40 minutes or so. You're not having this place. ATM taking it very fast through there, getting close behind Gabe for the barbecue. Does he have the pace to catch him before the sunset? Doesn't look like he's going to. Gabe's going to stay in front, taking the defensive inside line. He's going to look around the outside. Is he going to try and get him under braking? He is, and he's going to make it stick. Oh, it's close together. But yeah, ATM has taken the lead of this this race after Gabe has been leading it for so long. So it'll be interesting to see whether Gabe can take that back. Oh, ATM goes wide out of the S's. So they're going to give Gabe the opportunity to come back and attack. There we go. So it looks like ATM has comfortably taken the lead of this 50-minute race. With only a few laps to go, it's going to be interesting to see whether he can retain that. And now, because they're battling, Roan is on the back of Gabe himself. So there we go. They've lost probably a bit of time going through traffic, and then also their battling themselves has cost them some time. Because it looks like ATM maybe didn't have the best exit out of Ingwe, and Morris is going to be... Sorry, not get Morris. Gabe is going to be catching him down through the kink. He's going to look up the inside. He's not going to have it close enough this time around. As Lerone goes up the inside, almost 3 wide. Coming out of Crowthorne. And they head through the barbecue, still very close together. Oh, as ATM goes wide, hits the grass, I think. Out of barbecue. Not lost them loads of time. And then we go through Sunset. This will be the thing. They have slightly different lines through here. Roan not quite able to make the look up the inside through Clubhouse. We head through the S's. Roan taking quite a wide line into the S's there. It's giving Gabe the opportunity to pull away a little bit. Oh no. I thought ATM might have oversteered there, but it's just the way the track goes. Can't see it as they go down the hill. They're taking slightly different lines, heading into the Crocodiles. Gabe taking a wider line, giving him probably a better exit. He's still running. Oh, he hits the curb a little bit, as does Lerone. He's still close behind ATM at the moment. I think Lerone goes a bit deep. Oh, they go side by side. Let's have a quick look at how that happened. So they go through. Oh, I think he has a bit of oversteer ATM, and that's going to give Gabe the opportunity to come up on the inside. And yeah, Gabe retakes the lead. And I think, does he win? Is that the end of the race? Or is it? Is that the end of the race? Was that checker flag? I think it was. Yeah, checker flag. Did ATM get it or did Gabe get it? I think Gabe got it. Wow, what a photo finish. I'll go and have a quick look at that. Oopsie daisy. What have I done there? Ugh. This game sometimes. Apologies as I try and get... There we go, that's better. So let's have a look at the... Let's go to the finish line and have a look at as these guys come across the line. Of course, I'm following the cars. Oh, flipping it. Sorry, not very professional, I know, but let me just organise this. I want to see where this photo finish. It's not quite the photo finish that I would have liked, but it's pretty close. You know, as they go for a 50-minute race to be this close for P1, that is pretty mental. That's some good driving from those guys at the end. I might just roll it back a little bit, a couple of laps, and have a look at some of the other races going on. So let's have a jump back to Daly. He's riding close behind LKMP. In fact, even closer. Let's have a look at Worley and Hillier. So that's we've just been overtaken by the 3 guys in the lead, which we saw. So this is the battle for P17. Bit of oversteer there for Wally. Just going to give Hilly the opportunity to pull away a little bit. So he follows the guys up in P2 and 3. Hilly are going quite deep into Crowthorne. Giving Wally the opportunity to come very close behind him as they go through Barbecue. Wally playing it safe. As they come up to the S's then. That's all he looks like to he's going to be catching. Is he going to be able to get it on the inside of... Not quite. Lake Hop. They head round. Is that a bit of oversteer? So they were taken there by Morris. And P4. Be able to get around the outside through Crocodiles. Maybe get the switch back. Ooh, not quite. Didn't want to damage them. Thinks against going through side by side through the cheetah. Oh, let's have a look at Stevens actually, who is very close behind Weiss. Or he was. What's happened there? Was he ahead of Weiss? I think he might have been. Yeah, he was ahead of Weiss. As they go into Lake Hop, overtaking the GT3 car of Hale there, which has slowed Stevens right down and given Weiss back P2. But Stevens still quite close behind Weiss. Be interesting to see. But then he's got the GT3 car of Hale coming sailing past him. But Weiss is going to have the GT3 car to deal with coming out of the Crocodiles. As Hale goes very wide there. Weiss slots in behind. They go through the cheetah. Ooh, manages to keep hold of it. Look like he might have oversteered a little bit. As they head through Ingway. Down to the straight. This is their final lap? Yeah, I think this is their final lap. I think at this point everyone's finished. Or is there one? Actually, no, they might have one more lap to be fair. Yeah, it looks like they might have one more lap, so let's run on board with Dev. Actually, Pishon and DL as well, so very close together. So we can roll back and have a look at that. And Ryola and Ridge. Lots of interesting last-minute battles. I think Weiss has managed to keep a hold of this one, so we'll drop back to Pishon and DL. They run side by side there through turn 1, I think. Pishon then looking up the inside, going through Barbecue. DL with a very beaten up car by the looks of it. But DL managing to keep ahead as they go through Sunset. Stevens, Pishon, sorry, catching him into Clubhouse. Takes a little bit much of the grass. DL goes a little bit wide. Side by side through the S's. Come on, camera, catch up. Oh, that's where it ends. Oh no. Oh, that's a shame. I can't get to see the end of that. Oh, never mind. I think we'll leave it there, shall we? Lots of interesting racing. Really sorry if you didn't manage to see your particular battle. Looked like a lot of close racing there towards the end of that race, which is crazy because a 50-minute race. You know, you sometimes don't even have races that close in a 20 or 30-minute race. But yeah, right. Provisional results then before any penalties are applied. Gabe managing to keep in P1, got very close towards the end of it. Finishing within hundredths of a second there is ATM in P2. P3 Lerone. P4 Morris had that unfortunate incident which lost in the lead, I think. Long managing to get up into P5, quite a good race for him. I think he started in P12. Wilder in P6. Wilkins in P7. Ridge in P8. Raiola in P9 after that unfortunate incident that he had with, I think, Pichon. Joswick in P10. Hale in P11. Daly in P12. LKMP in P13. Barros in P14. Healy in P15. Speaking Leash in P16. Hillier in P17. And Worley in P18. McElligott in P19. And then we'll carry on with the GT3 cars. So I think Neil in P20 for the GT3 cars. In P21. Kuyar in P22. And Norton in P23. Although the final two, I think, DNF'd, unfortunately. Then for the GT4 cars, we have Mybom in P1. Weiss managing to retain P2. Stevens in P3. Swan in P4. Askham in P5. DL managing to scrape P6. Pichon in P7 and Engel in P8. Right, bit of a long one there. So it was a little messy from my side. Sorry if we missed any particularly good racing. But interesting to commentate a little bit of a longer race than usual. But nevertheless, thank you all for watching and listening. I will hope to see you next week, where I think we're in Monza. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.